Welcome back, level 2 subscribers. We are on a forward bending week, and I've created a class that I think is pretty fun, so I'm hoping you find it fun as well, and I hope that word doesn't trigger you. It actually is fun, and of course I always want you to just do your best and leave the rest. Have a chair for this practice. If you haven't gotten a backless yoga chair yet, you can talk to me. You can either buy one or you can make one yourself, just knocking out the back. A little more involved, but cheaper. And then have a couple blocks. I have a stack of blankets over here. You probably maybe don't have that many at home. You won't need all those, but just have as many blankets as you do have, your strap, and a little sticky mat pad if you own one. Great way to get rid of an old yoga mat is to cut it up and make these little mat pads, which sometimes we use for the chair and for other stuff. So we're going to get going. We are going to kind of weave the forward bending poses into some sun salutation sequences. And what else was I going to say? I forgot, but it'll come back. So let's just take a moment to sit quietly. You can sit in seated, cross-legged position. You can sit in hero position. Just a position that you can align yourself, you can sustain for a couple minutes, and just take a few moments to settle in. Just kind of quieting your brain and letting yourself catch up. A lot of times we are kind of misaligned with where our mind is and where our body is. So taking just enough time to bring your mind into your body. Noticing your breath, noticing sensation. Maybe getting quiet enough to sense what this practice is about for you today. As you feel ready, joining the hands in front of the heart. Bowing toward your heart. Release your hands. Lift your head and let your eyes come open. And welcome. So go ahead and make your way into child's pose, separating the knees, extending the arms forward. Try to see that your arms are fully extended, no bend in the elbows. Sitting as far back as you can and attempting to keep the arms off the floor. So just the hands are touching. Curling your tailbone toward the floor. Maybe even gripping the tops of the toenails against the floor. Keeping the head either right between the arms or forehead down. Playing with the actions of the arms, rotating the inner wrists down and lifting the inner upper arms up. And just kind of gently scrubbing the floor with your hands to invite the shoulders to sit back and the chest to move forward. We're going to come into hare pose, waking up the back body. So gently bring your knees together and sit back again. And move your hands next to your feet with the palms up. And be on the top of your head. Actually, be on the hairline. We will move to the top of the head in a moment. You're going to roll your hands over to grab onto your heels. And on an exhalation, shift weight to the top of the head and move your buttocks away from your heels. And now more actively pulling the toes into the floor. Really kind of stretching out the spine and broadening the back body. Now on an exhale, sit back, let the hands flop open again. You're gonna find your way to hands and knees, separate the knees hip distance, take the toes underneath, exhale, finding Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog, but keep your knees bent, keep your heels lifted, moving your chest toward your thighs, moving your shoulder blades towards your chest, moving your thighs from front to back, rolling the inner knees back, and gently drawing the hips away from the wrists. Go ahead and tiptoe forward to the top of your mat. Joining your feet here. Sweep the arms up. Bring the hands together in front of the heart. And then release the arms. Close your eyes. And start making those finely tuned adjustments for Tadasana, mountain pose. Putting the skull right above the spine. Planting the feet with deep roots. Finding a way to lift the pelvis, the rib cage, the skull, but leaving the shoulders heavy. As you're ready, opening the eyes, joining the hands in front of the heart. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, lengthen to the floor and step back with your right foot and then your left foot. You're back in downward facing dog. Inhale forward to a plank position. You can lower the knees here or exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, Cobra pose. Sinking the hips, floating the chest forward, pulling the shoulders back, taking the gaze up. Toes turn underneath, downward facing dog. Take your right leg up, and on an exhale, stepping the right foot forward. Then stepping the left foot forward. And you're gonna pause right here. So make sure that your feet are hip distance apart. And with your first two fingers and thumbs, you're gonna wrap your big toes. I want you to bend your knees enough that you can really start to pull up on your toes and broaden your chest and feel the shoulder blades moving in toward the chest for support. And then keeping that feeling, attempt to straighten your legs. But really, if you're feeling this in the back, keep the knees bent. We want to really save that broadness across the chest. If you're compromising that to straighten the legs, also don't do that. But make this about the chest remaining broad and the lower back remaining quiet. Good. We're going to come into Ardha Uttanasana, Parshva, meaning we're moving it sideways, and we're going to be in the concave lumbar. So bring both hands to either side of the foot. You can always take blocks if you need them, and move your torso to the right, but without your hips swiveling. So your hips should be on the same plane as if there's a pane of glass in front and behind the hips. Align your breastbone with your right leg. And then come into Parshva Uttanasana. So we were in the half Uttanasana, now we're in the full by bowing deeply toward the right leg. And just feel how this gives you a little bit more opportunity to individually stretch the leg. You'll feel it nicely in the right leg. Let your head just hang. And 5 breaths. Inhale, you're going to come back to Padangusthasana, hand to big toes. So grab those big toes. Bend your knees enough that you can pull the chest forward. You can take the shoulder blades in. Pull up on those toes, make it really functional, make it work for you. And then go over to the other side for that Parshva Ardha Uttanasana. So taking half forward bend to the side, framing the left foot with your fingertips on the floor or your hands to the blocks, and sliding your torso to the left in a way that you're not swiveling your hips. So you're kind of sliding the torso directly over. Inhale, look forward for that Ardha piece, the concave or flat lumbar. Preparing for the deep fold by gaining as much extension with the torso as you can. Then you're going to exhale and Fully bow toward the left leg to your own degree. And give some nice quality breaths to the left leg. The emphasis of this week is that we're going to try to make forward bending week not all kind of the taskmaster being the back. So we're accessing the legs right now. We're trying to gain slack in other areas of the body so that we can save our backs. Inhale back to center. Grab the big toes one last time. And this time you're going to bow deeply. So pulling up on the big toes, getting the chest nice and broad. On the exhale, wing the elbows out and take your chest toward your thighs. Roll the sitting bones up. Roll the inner knees back. Try to balance over your feet. And right now I'm not feeling anything in my lower back. So hopefully you're getting a nice forward bend. It doesn't just feel like you're abusing your back. Release the big toes. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart. And release the arms at your sides. Close your eyes. Drop your shoulders. Notice your breathing. Good. Open the eyes, join the hands. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, sweeping down to the floor. Stepping back with your left foot, stepping back with your right foot. Downward facing dog. Inhale, forward plank position. Exhale, low to the floor. Inhale, cobra, upward facing dog, whatever you have for this extension. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, raise the left leg. Exhale, step through with the left foot. Bring the right foot forward as well. And now we're going to come into Padahastasana. Similarly, bending the knees. We're going to pick up the feet and slide our palms underneath our feet so that the toes rest over the wrist creases. Now we just elevated the feet. What we don't want to do is have our butt poking back and our heels kind of dumping all our weight there. So step into your hands with your front feet. And again, keeping your chest broad, see about straightening the legs, but without yanking on your lower back, without losing the broadness of the chest. Ardha Padahastasana. So we're still in flatter concave lumbar. We'll save the full thing for the final piece of this sequence. I'll just take a few more moments here. So now you are going to intentionally sit back in the heels so that you can inhale and take your hands away. I want you to take your left hand behind your right ankle, your back of your right hand to the left sideways, and then gently start to turn your chest and peek to the right. Parivrita Ardha Uttanasana, revolving the half forward bend. Three more breaths. Wonderful. Come back to Padahastasana, sliding your hands back under the feet, taking any amount of knee bend that you need to move the shoulder blades in, to look forward, to feel your back is neutral. Step into your front feet, don't forget that piece. And on an inhale, again, sink your weight back, just so you can lift the hands away from the feet. With the right hand, grab the back of the left ankle. With the back of your left hand, slide that to the right sideways. Use the support of your hands to revolve your chest to peek to the left. Finishing an exhalation, inhale to release. One more time, sliding your hands under the feet. Inhale to look forward. This time, exhale, wing the elbows out and come into your deepest version of a forward bend, Padahastasana.
Keep stepping into your front feet. Attempting to straighten the legs, but watch the back, watch the chest. On an inhale, sit back in the heels, bring the hands out from under the feet. Sweep the arms up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Release your arms, close your eyes, Tadasana. Be a container for breath. Be an open window for breath. Drop the shoulders. Look down toward your cheeks. Good. The block should be available to the front of the mat for the next sequence. Virabhadrasana 3 into a standing split. I think we did this last week as kind of a little preview. And so we're going to come from Tadasana, inhale, bring the hands together in front of the heart, and raise the arms. Exhale, legs into the floor. You can step back, right foot, left foot, or you can hop or float. I try not to say jump because that's kind of a loud and harsh movement. So if you are doing the kind of the simultaneous step back, you're trying to really make it kind of quiet and light rather than a heavy pounding movement. So from downward facing dog, inhale, plank position. Exhale to the floor, inhale cobra or upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg. And on an exhale, stepping through. And you're just gonna kind of walk yourself forward until the left leg floats up. And you're in a hand grounded Virabhadrasana 3 position. Feel free to extend the arms if that's available to you. Take your hands back to the floor. Moving your chest to the right, just like you did for Parshva Uttanasana. So you're not swiveling your hips to do that, you're sliding. Inhale, big here, move the shoulder blades in. And exhale, dip your chest toward your leg as the left leg rises. If you can see left toes, do your best to point them down. Sometimes we try to turn out here. That's not the alignment we want. We want straight legs, we want toes pointing down, that left foot. Lift the left inner thigh. And now realign yourself back to Virabhadrasana 3. Maybe once again, extending the arms forward. And then touch the floor. Step back with that left foot. Stepping left foot to meet right. Inhale, raise the arms. And exhale, hands to your heart. Release the arms, Tadasana. Just take about a half a minute before we go into left side. And notice how when we take Tadasana for a smaller period of time, like 30 seconds, our body is starting to be able to transition more quickly between effort and the surrendered state. So we're becoming very kind of lubricated with our transmission. Like if we were a car, the yoga practice kind of helps us with better transmission and transitions. All right, left side, hands to the heart, eyes open, inhale, raise the arms, exhale, sweeping your arms to the floor. You can float back or left foot, right foot, downward dog. Inhale, plank position, exhale, finding an extension. Inhale, lift your heart. Good. Downward facing dog. Inhale to raise the left leg. Go ahead and step through. And then walking yourself forward until right leg floats up. And just kind of refining. So a lot of times we show up with the hip elevated a little bit on the aerial leg side. So refine the pose, bring a sense of buoyancy to that heavy left femur bone. Straighten your standing leg. Straighten your elevated leg. Align your chest right in front of that left thigh and left shin. Maybe extending the arms forward. touching the floor if you did that. Take a big inhale here, exhale, tilting the chest down as that right leg rises. Raising that right leg any amount. And then inhale back to a nice capital letter T shape, Virabhadrasana 3, maybe re-extending the arms just for a beat. And then find your way to stepping back down with the right toes, bringing right toes forward to meet the left. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, hands to the heart. And release the arms, Tadasana. Dropping in for another minute. The body surrenders the effort of what you just did. The breath regulates. We find softness where we no longer need effort. We observe any residuals from those poses energetically, as far as breath, as far as sensation. And the blocks are there if you need them. You don't have to use them if you don't need them, but just keep them handy. I always need them for this next piece. Ardha Baddha Padmottanasana, where we fold forward in kind of a half lotus position. So I'm going to set mine up right in front of me, nice and tall. And from Tadasana, joining the hands in front of the heart. Inhale, raising the arms. Exhale, lengthen to the floor. Find your way back to dog. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, an extension. You could do cobra, upward dog. And downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg, and on an exhale, step through. We're going to be coming into a left low tree. So stepping your left foot, pressing the left heel against the right ankle, sweep your arms up into Urdhva Namaskarasana, meaning your arms are up and your hands are in prayer. Now move your foot to the lower leg, so your toes are no longer on the floor. Now you might need your hands for assistance, but you're going to bring your left foot into the high position if you can, otherwise stay low. Come back to Urdhva Namaskarasana. And now we're going to transition to a half chair position. So you're going to cross the left ankle to the right thigh and bend your right knee. Sweep your arms up and sit down and try to press that left knee toward the floor. Good. Take your left hand to your hip, your right hand to your left ankle, and bring that left ankle up toward the right hip crease. Try to point your knee down here. Raise just the left arm. We're going to hold just for about 30 seconds just to kind of prime the hip before we fold forward. So what's not obvious here is there's a good tip. Start to move the right thigh into the left foot. That's going to help you secure that position. When you one day, someday do this without your hand helping you, so you would, in other words, have both arms up right now. But I like to teach it this way because for most of us, that's not accessible for many, many years. So on an inhale, just kind of re-invite some length to your trunk. Exhale, you're going to hinge forward, and that bending forward will catch that foot and hold it there. Again, just like we've been practicing, don't straighten that right leg. First, find your broad chest. First, take care of your lower back, and then see what you can do about a straighter leg. We're in concave flat lumbar right now, so a couple breaths looking forward. And then on an exhale, bow deeply. See what you've got. Inhale, look forward. Right hand goes back to holding the foot. Try to inhale and raise that left arm, come all the way up. And now stepping your left foot back hold it there, and just straighten that left leg. That's important after we do hip work. Just as fully straightened as you can hold it. And go ahead and bring a little bit of weight into your left foot so you can step it forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hands to your heart. And release your arms. Close your eyes. Drop the shoulders. Dial down effort, just using what you need to maintain wise actions. Letting breath be free, regulate slowly. Wonderful. Left side. Eyes open, hands meet the heart. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, lengthen to the floor. Find your way back to dog. Plank position. Chaturanga Dandasana. Cobra, upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Inhale, raise the left leg. And exhale, step through. Okay, so we're going to come into the lowest tree, which means you're going to keep right toes down and prop right heel against left ankle. Sweep the arms up toward the Namaskarasana, keeping arms as straight as you can, sucking that outer left hip bone toward midline. Keeping that, stepping up the leg so you're right over the calf muscle. Maybe using your hand for assistance to find a higher position for your foot. Left hand comes to left hip, right hand comes to right ankle. You're going to prop the outer right ankle against the left thigh, and then sweep both arms up. Urdhva Hastasana, straight arms, not prayer. Sit down, pressing that right knee to the floor. Right hand to right hip, left hand to right ankle. Bringing the heel up to that left hip flexor. Try to point your right knee down. Raise the right arm. We'll hold it here for 30 seconds. Keep pulling that outer right hip bone in. Inhale, reach up through that top arm. Exhale, hinging forward. Try to place your hands on your block so they're equally set kind of in front of that left foot, and you're in the concave flat lumbar. So look forward, couple deep breaths, and then you're going to exhale, see what you've got. Bow toward left leg. Ardha Padmottanasana. And you can do this seated, and it's called Ardha Paschimottanasana. Inhale, you're going to look forward again. Returning your left hand to your right foot. Inhale, sweeping right arm up. And now go ahead and step back with the right foot and hold it there. Straighten the right leg as best you can. Equalize that knee. Make sure you didn't rotate the knee at all with the hip opener. And breathe. Take a little more weight into the right foot. Step forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Release the arms, Tadasana. Right. So have blankets handy. Mine are over here, so I'm going to move them more centrally to my mat, kind of alongside the outer mat. And I might take one to each side. Additionally, we're going to do a pose that I know I always need a block under one of my buttocks for, so I'm also going to put a block there if you don't know. Then just put one there, just in case. What else? I think that's it. All right. So we're going to come into triangle Mukha Pada Paschimottanasana. So one leg will be in hero, one leg will be in a forward bend. That's what I was forgetting. Have your strap as well. I knew there was something. We're just available off to the side. And we'll come in through the doorway of Surya Namaskarasana, the sun salutation. Joining the hands, inhale, raise the arms, and exhale, lace into the floor. Find your way back to dog. Moving into plank position through chaturanga into cobra or upward facing dog. Try to fully extend the arms for upward facing dog. Back to downward facing dog. On the inhale, you're going to raise your right leg. And on the exhale, you're going to step through. You're going to fold your left knee, and you're going to be sitting back in triangle position. So your left foot is in hero. Your right leg is extended. And this is where I need a block because I have more muscular thighs. So my distance from the floor is perfectly block height for me. What you want to see is that your hips are level. So if you're slumping down into your right hip side, it might be a blanket for you. For most people, a block is actually excessive. So filling in that gap so your hip points are level. Wonderful. Your knees are joined. Of course, your left toes are slightly outside. Your left heel is next to your hip. So you're not sitting on your heel. That's a different pose. Now here's where the strap comes in. We'll take hold of the area of the foot right below the ball mounds, which is the point we kind of tap into to get more of a muscular stretch. If we wanted to be addressing bone, we'd go closer to the heel. But today, we're trying to tap into other areas of the body to recruit them so that the back doesn't take the toll all the time. And so what that means is we're trying to access leg muscle and elongate it. So this is why we're going to hold right below the ball mound. Wrap your knuckles once to conserve energy there. And try to start in a way that your elbows are right underneath your shoulders. Okay, so we're keeping the chest open. Gripping the floor with left toenails. Inhale here. Exhale, hinge forward, but stop before your back notices. So in my class yesterday, I said, treat your back today like a sleeping baby that you don't want to wake up. So if the back is starting to wake up, do something to change that. So it might be to back off, to come up a little bit. It might be to gently move your right heel toward your right hip socket, which can give you a little more freedom in the back. So just kind of play with it. Goldilocks it. Now you're going to let go of the strap, but try to maintain a position you're in with your torso angle. Put your hands down and gently bow over your right leg. There's kind of a forward cascading of motion here. So keep gripping the floor with the toenails and keep a sense of anchored weight in your back half. And use that to gently propel your torso forward. Not yanking on the lower back. 3 more breaths. Good. After the third one, you can inhale, come up. Move that strap out of your way. If you're on a block or a prop under your right buttock, move that out of your way. You're going to sit forward, shoot your right leg back into the sky, and then step your right foot forward, step your left foot forward. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, hands to your heart. Tadasana. Pause. Imagine there's an energetic pull from the chin up to the base of the skull. Join the hands in front of your heart. Open your eyes. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale to the floor. Find your way to downward facing dog. Moving through that vinyasa sequence. You can always skip it and hang out in dog to conserve your energy if that is needed. We're back in dog. Inhale, raise the left leg. Exhale, you're going to step through.
We're going to be folding the right leg behind us for Virasana and sitting back on the left buttock, propping the left buttock if needed. So take a few moments to make some adjustments so that you feel really aligned for Triyengar, Mukha, Ikapada. Triyengar means 3, Mukha is face, Ikapada is 1 foot. Paschimottanasana is the Western facing forward bend. So it's a lot of things put together. We'll take hold of that left foot right below the ball mounds. Wrap the hands and try to be elbows under shoulders alignment. Pulling there to get your chest to move forward. Anchor into your right shin, right top of your foot, right toenails. Exhale forward, but without waking that baby. And try to create a little bit of clamping, moving your right knee forward and scrubbing your left heel back, which you might notice is a back saver. So just a little manipulation of how the legs are kind of moving momentum-wise, changing that direction. So you'll notice right knee likes to pull back. So you're going to pull right knee forward. Left heel likes to shove forward. You're going to drag that back. And then you're going to feel a little bit more control and ease in this pose. And now kind of trusting that you've met a nice edge for yourself. You're going to put the strap aside, prop up on your fingers, tent up your fingers, and bow over the leg to see what you've got. Inhale, lift your head. Move your strap aside. You're gonna sit forward, move that prop aside that's under your butt. Curl those right toes under, shoot the left leg up in the sky. Good. Step through with the left foot and the right foot forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up. And exhale, hands to the heart. Back into Tadasana, mountain pose. Drop the shoulders. Looking away from the brain. Okay, so very similarly, we're going to come into Marichyasana. As you're ready, opening your eyes. Namaskarasana, Urdhva Hastasana, Uttanasana. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Plank position. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale. Cobra Bhujangasana. Or Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Inhale, Ekapada Adho Mukha Svanasana with the right leg, raise the leg. Exhale, you're going to step through with that right foot. You're going to come down on the left knee. You're going to sit back and then prop your left foot next to your right foot. Now take a blanket under your butt if you need a little height there. I always do. And it's you'll know if your lower back feels like it's already collapsed. We're not there yet. We're not collapsing the back, of course, but you don't want to be in a rounded lumbar yet. Invite the left heel toward the left sitting bone. And then take hold of your foot. And you don't have to use a strap, but I find it's helpful when we're really trying to tap into the back saving kind of piece and the concave or flat lumbar piece. So arms are inside left knee. Left knee is squeezing left arm though. It's trying to hang out close. It's not popping out to the side. You'll know because your left foot is even on the floor. It's not rocking out to the side. So inhale, sit up tall. Try to balance the weight of your sitting bones. So bringing the tension into left sitting bone, staying plugged into the floor. And again, shift forward without waking the baby of the lower back, keeping your chest in the sunlight, keeping your shoulder blades moving in. If you can, without disturbing the wise actions, drop the strap and grab the foot here, great. Otherwise, you can prop your hands like we did earlier. On an exhale, you're going to wing the elbows out. and come closer to the right leg. Keep rolling weight back to your left sitting bone, squeezing left knee to left shoulder, and using the clamping action of the legs to help propel your torso forward. And again, I'm not feeling anything in my lower back right now. So if you are, maybe something needs to change, and it could be a very subtle change that has a big effect. So just play with little actions in your body. Good. Inhale, sit up. Move your strap aside. You're going to sit forward. Move your blanket aside. We're going to be shooting the right leg up into the sky. Back in Ekapada Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then step your right foot forward. Step your left foot forward. Inhale, raise the arms. And exhale, hands to your heart. Release your arms, Tadasana. Second side, eyes open, hands meet, and arms float up. Exhale, forward bend. Find your way back to dog. Taking plank position, Chaturanga Dandasana. Cobra for upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Inhale, raising the left leg. Exhale, stepping through. Lower down the right knee. You're going to sit back and bring that right heel in front of the right sitting bone. Prop your sitting bones. If you need a little extra support through lower back. Grabbing hold of the foot with the strap or the hands directly. Starting with your chest moving forward, your elbows pulling back, your shoulders back, squeezing that right knee toward the right arm. And trying to balance the sitting bone weight here, which is a job because you're going to feel lighter on the right. So keep bringing weight back to your right side, stepping more heavily maybe into your right foot. And without disturbing the good qualities of this concave lumbar, flat back lumbar version of the pose, you're going to try to either come closer to the foot or grab the foot and bow for the next 5 breaths over the left leg. Marichyasana, named after a stage. There are a few poses named after stages, and I don't know the attributes of all the individual stages, but doing the poses is said to give you those attributes. So right now, we're kind of absorbing the attributes of the stage Marichi. Okay, so inhale, you're going to come up, try to simultaneously move things out of your way, sit forward, and we're going to be shooting the left leg back into the sky for Ekapada Adho Mukha Svanasana. And then stepping the left foot through, stepping the right foot through. Inhale, raise the arms. And exhale, hands to your heart. Release your arms and stand in Tadasana. Joining your feet if they're separated. Connecting your legs. And without any unnecessary hardness in the buttocks, try to move the midline, the horizontal midline of the buttocks, toward the front body. And in the same way, try to gently let the backs of your thighs absorb the fronts of your thighs. So it's a soft absorption. It's not making your thighs any bulkier. You should just kind of imagine the front thighs being absorbed by the back thighs. Keeping your feet relaxed and therefore well connected with the floor. Relaxed feet are intelligent feet. They're more, the response time is quicker when the feet are relaxed to respond to those micro movements. They're continuous in the body. Okay, so
we're going to come into another sequence. We'll be coming into Janu Shirshasana to attempt for the Ardha Baddha Padma Paschimottanasana. So basically the seated version of that standing forward bend we did with the half lotus position. So if you don't remember, that's okay. You'll remember when we get there. So the eyes open, the hands connect. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale to the floor. Find your way back to downward dog. You can hold it here. You can move through the vinyasa sequence, which really just lubricates the spine. And finding your way back to dog. Inhale, raise your right leg. Exhale, again, you're going to step through. You're going to kneel down on the left knee. Swing your left heel in, and hopefully you end up in something that looks like Janu Shirshasana. So left knee is pointing out to the side. You're going to find a blanket to sit on if you need that. You're also going to prop under the left knee if your knee is floating in space. And you're going to snuggle that left heel in nice and close to the left inner thigh. We're going to take our hands and just kind of turn our chest to really line up well with the right leg. And then take your strap right below the ball mounds. Pull your right heel toward your right hip. And notice how right away a few things happen. Our body rotates to the right, which is good because we're aligning chest and the right leg. And also we might feel that there's a little bit of back favor in that action. Come forward with your chesting in the sunlight. Your chin, your chest lengthening out over the right thigh. Keep lengthening from the left inner thigh out through the left inner knee. That's really your anchor for this pose. You're only as good as that left leg here. Exhale, you're either going to grab the foot or release the strap and touch the floor and come into your deepest Janu Shirshasana. Aligning the hips, aligning the shoulders. So the idea is not to slope down with the right shoulder here. Try to keep your shoulders level. Very similar to when we did the forward bend to the side with Uttanasana in the very beginning. You're not rotating your hips. You're not rotating your shoulders. You're sliding evenly over the right leg. Good. Now inhale, you're going to come up. And we're going to take both hands underneath the left ankle and gently prop it up onto the right thigh for the Ardha Baddha Padma position. So Ardha is half, Baddha is bound, Padma is referring to the lotus pose. So here you definitely probably will see a raised knee unless you're, I'm going to say Lynn, I'm going to call you out. Lynn has a beautiful lotus pose that she's probably been working on for many, many years. But if you see a floating knee like I have, you can put a blanket under there if you want to, actually. So come back to your strap, holding your right foot. And start to extend over the right leg. So kind of recalling when we did this standing and just giving yourself a moment to feel grateful for how much more support there is in the seated version. And then if you can, you'll either grab the foot directly or take your hands to the floor and come into your full forward bend, whatever that is, winging your elbows up away from the floor and wide, which keeps the same broadness to the chest. Scrubbing your right heel toward your right hip, extending through the left knee, keeping that knee. Remember that action when you were standing, we're really trying to point the knee down, and now the direction would be forward. Good. Inhale, you're going to raise the arms, come all the way up. Exhale, lower the arms. Move your strap aside. Deconstruct all those props underneath you. We're going to uncross the foot, stepping into Marichyasana, so that means the left foot comes onto the floor. Shift your weight forward, and then shoot the right foot back. Go ahead and step through with the right foot, step through with the left foot. Inhale, raise the arms, and exhale, hands to the heart. Coming into Tadasana, just pausing for a few breaths. So while you're pausing, really bring a sense of firmness to your legs, especially that left leg that just did a very kind of deep hip opener for half lotus. You want to squeeze your thigh muscles. You want to make sure the kneecaps, if you were to grab them, aren't going to wobble around. They're secured by all the ligaments and muscle that surround them. And then we'll come into second side, opening the eyes, joining the hands, raising the arms, finding your way to touching the floor and stepping back or floating back to dog pose. Inhale through that vinyasa sequence, the plank, chaturanga, cobra, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Inhale, raising the left leg, and exhale, you're gonna step through. Okay, kneel down on the right knee. We're gonna be sitting back so that the left leg stays forward, and we'll float that right knee wide. We're gonna start with Jani Shirshasana, head to knee pose, before we come into that half lotus. So Jani Shirshasana is a really great preparatory pose for the lotus pose or the half lotus pose. So make sure the heel comes as close to the upper inner thigh as you can bring it. Make sure to prop the knee there. If you see it's kind of floating in space, it's not a good anchored leg. If it is, you need an anchored leg. And then use your fingertips to turn to help you face that left leg. Start by holding the foot, starting with the chest moving forward, drawing that left heel toward the left hip, extending your trunk out across that left leg. Bringing some nice action to the right inner thigh all the way through the inner knee, lengthening out and down to the floor. Good. And now, preserving the wise actions as best you can, come into your fullest forward bend. If you're grabbing the foot, do that, otherwise tenting the fingers on the ground. But from either place, you're floating the elbows up to keep your chest smiling, armpit to armpit. Keep your chest broad. And if you can move the action of the left heel toward the left hip, you'll gain some slack to be able to extend the torso out across the left leg. And now you're going to inhale and come up. And with both hands supporting kind of the outer right ankle, lift the foot up onto the shelf of your thigh. Prop that floating right knee if you see it's floating in dead air. Bring that heel up into the hip crease as best you can. For some of us, that's not quite happening yet. You'll be more over the quadriceps. By the way, a lot of people are bothered by that because the foot is pressing into that muscle. So it feels better once you do start to get the foot closer to the hip crease. Come back to your strap. Come back to concave lumbar position, extending forward with your chest leading you. And by the way, that's not your chin leading you. The chin can be deceiving because our eyes think, our eyes are very suggestive and the eyes are connected to the face and the chin. So keep your chest leading and think about that line from your chin to the occiput. So keeping the skull in line with the spine. You don't want to have those floating heads 10 feet in front of the spine. So remember when we grabbed the big toes earlier in class and we pulled and we sunk the shoulder blades into the chest? Hopefully you're feeling that a little bit here. You're getting that imprint. That's really going to be handy when you come now. You're going to go into the full forward bend. So finding your hands either on the floor, grabbing the foot, elbows lift, exhale, bow deeply. Beautiful. Inhale, come up. Move your strap aside. You're going to lower the foot down, standing the knee up. You're back in Marichyasana, the safer transition for the knee. Sit forward. We're going to be shooting the left leg up into the sky. Straightening the right leg though, because that was the bent knee side. So take care of that leg here. And then touch down with your left toes. Lower your knees. Pick up your feet and cross your ankles. Sit back and throw a blanket behind you. Sit on the blanket and extend your legs forward. So we're going to set up for Paschimottanasana. Joining the legs and feet and taking the strap that's below the ball mount. Do your best to bring the big toe ball mounts to the strap. A lot of us sickle the feet here. Don't do that. So we need to have evenness to inner and outer feet. Ball mounts and pinky toe mounts pressing evenly. Elbows under the shoulders. Squeeze the backs of the knees against the floor. Sit up tall and move your heels towards your hips as a back saver. That's going to really help you. Don't let the heels push in the other direction. That's going to yank on your back. So wave of energy from your heels up your back, over your head. And then when you're ready, hands can come to the floor. You can kind of scrub the hands to the floor to keep propelling the torso forward. You could grab the feet if that's available. Lift the elbows, broaden the chest. We'll stay for 10 breaths. Good. Inhale, strap aside. We're going to sit back and pull the heels in and cross the ankles here. Take the toes to the floor and find your way back to dog. Couple breaths. Good. Now, hopefully your heels are propped on the blanket edge. The toes and ball mounds are not. They're on the mat. The arches are in between. So don't prop the arches, just prop the heels. Start to walk your hands toward your feet. Look forward. And now join your feet together. Join your knees. And start to sit down. Take a squat. And if your heels aren't getting sufficient support in your squat, you can roll your blanket, make it more bulky, and fill the void with the bulk. We want heel support. Most of us don't come directly down. Some of us do, but we want to support where we don't meet the floor with the heel. So once you're there, you could feel that your pelvic floor is just losing the energy of the spine, or potentially losing the energy of the spine. There's a lot of pressure down there. So lightly pick the pelvic floor up. It's the same contraction you use to not pee your pants. So a little bit of a light lifting there. Extend the arms forward, but we don't want shoulders in sight here. We're coming into Malasana. If your shoulders are forward, you're already collapsing your chest. Pull your shoulders back, bring your chest forward, squeeze your knees together and lift the pelvic floor. Anchor into your heels. Keeping the inner feet grounded, in other words, we're not rolling to the outer feet. So keep your feet as they are, separate your knees. So you really have to actively press into your big toes and inner heels. Touch the floor and creep the fingers forward, but then drag the fingers back. They're not actually moving, so you're just kind of scrubbing to pull the chest out of the shadows once again. Make sure the feet are still anchored, inner feet especially. And now you're going to take your hands and find the backs of your heels. Look forward again, get the chest back in the sunlight, and then exhale, bow to your deepest. Maybe the head comes down, maybe you're just bowing with the head floating in space. Just bow to your deepest. We'll stay for 5 breaths. Press the arms against the legs to keep the chest moving forward. Don't lose the pelvic floor action. Lift, lift, lift.
but don't use any more effort than it takes your eyes to blink there. You're not squeezing. It's just a very delicate blinking of the pelvic floor muscles. Good. Now go ahead and reverse the steps. Bring your hands forward again. On an inhale, zip the knees together, extend the arms forward. And now sit forward and you're gonna rest in Virasana. We're not gonna be nitpicky with it. You're just gonna sit back on your heels, put your hands over the soles of the feet, move your shoulders back, your tailbone in, open the front ankles. I just did a bunch of flexion in Malasana. If you want a deeper ankle stretch, you can float the knees up. Sometimes we need that after Malasana. And now we're going to find our 2 blocks. And we'll be standing on them for Bakasana. You can put them in front of you and step your front feet onto them. Your feet don't have to be joined here. Hip distance is probably ideal for most bodies. And now we're going to come up. You're going to extend your left arm, take your left hand to your right thigh, take your right hand to your right hip, and just see about extending the right arm back. Good. And now bring your hands to the heart center and dip the left elbow to meet the right thigh or knee, and just revolving a couple breaths here. Good. Bring your hands to the floor. Shift your weight forward. Now the legs are ready for a break, so it's always good when we're more motivated for these challenging arm balances. Bring your knees up to your armpits or shoulders. Sit forward and just see about launching from those blocks. You might just play with less weight there. You might actually come off. Okay, so you can just shift your weight forward. Come back to your blocks. Extend your right arm. Cross it to the left thigh. And then reaching the left arm back. Revolving your trunk to the left. Now taking hands to prayer and dipping right elbow to meet left side. Revolving your trunk in more of a forward bending shape, fatiguing the legs on purpose so that they're really excited to come into Bakasana and be light and free. And now come to center, bring your fingertips to the floor, bring your knees up to your armpits or shoulders, sit forward and see about floating. Okay, come back to your blocks, step down, come back to hero pose. Close your eyes. If you want a deeper ankle stretch, you could put your blanket right under your knees, giving the ankles just a little bit more of a chance to open, which you might need after that work you just did. Okay. And now we're going to come into our last downward dog. Just to give the legs a nice elongating, opening stretch, backs of the knees. Rolling the inner knees back, widening the backs of your knees, extending heels down, toes forward. Maybe walking the dog, massaging your legs with that kind of walking action of your heels. And then you're going to quietly start to set up for headstand. And if you're not going to do headstand today, you can take wide standing forward bend with your head supported on something, whether it's a block or blankets. I usually suggest that you take the mat and double it up so that your head has enough support. We don't want the head to feel like it's jamming into a hard surface. Sometimes I remove my rings. They can kind of bother me if my fingers interlocking strongly in the pose can kind of make the ring dig into your fingers. Elbows should be as wide as shoulders, not a lot wider. Try to stack the wrists. Don't let the inner wrist flop out. And then find your way up. There's a lifting action in the legs. We're always working with gravity, resisting gravity by bringing the legs up, away from the floor. Meanwhile, digging your elbows into the floor, keeping your shoulder blades moving toward the chest. Another minute if you are still up. You come down, stay down, and just hold child's pose. Now, if you're still up, you'll start to come down slowly. I'll set up for halasana today. So I was going to do both shoulder stand and plow pose, but in the interest of time, we're just going to do plow pose with the chair. So you want to set up as if you're coming into shoulder stand. So you'll spread out some blankets in that, I call it the mat sandwich. So my mat is already folded, so I'm just going to open it out. Start to stack 3 blankets there. And then you can fold that mat back over your blanket stack. Just leave about an inch that's not matted, sticking out there. The chair is going to go kind of above the head. And I do like, for the version of plow pose we're doing today, I do like to put a little bit of more support on the chair seat. This is where that little pad comes in. That's just so my blanket doesn't go flying off. The chair seat, I can feel confident that I'm going to be stationary. I'm not going to go into a sliding blanket moment, which we're trying to quiet down now at this point. So we want to just kind of make sure everything's secure. And then I like to use my strap for my arms, but because we're coming into plow and I want you to have the chance to kind of reach your arms overhead, if you're a strap user, you can skip it. Just so you can have that experience of being in a supported plow pose with the arms and legs moving in the same direction. So I know some of us have trouble getting the legs up and over, which is very normal.
There's two remedies for that, either a block placement kind of underneath your sacrum will give you enough height. For some of us, that's enough. For others, you'll set up with a wall right here so that you can use your feet against the wall to help you lift. So you just have to kind of determine how you get up and what's the best way for you. Okay, so we're going to start just making sure the shoulders are about an inch from the end. Your chair should not be on a mat, by the way, because it needs to kind of slide easily. So we don't want to be fighting the chair on a sticky mat. And then you're going to just start by kind of bringing that momentum to get your toes onto your chair. We'll start with the toes on the chair and just kind of lift the hips to align with the shoulders. But because we're going to come right into a supported kind of passive version of a quiet plow pose, you're going to grab the chair and move it so that your thighs are resting. And for a lot of us, the height needs to be adjusted here. So some people need more blanketing on top of the chair. Some people need more blanketing under them. So as you do this more and more, you'll get to kind of know what you need. And that's true for all the poses. So you really want to get the chair as close to your roots of your thighs as you can. And then lastly, you can stretch the arms through the chair. And we'll be here for about 2 minutes. So start to take your hands out so that you can help the chair push away. But then you can return your arms overhead, which will help you gently roll the hips back down. Try to tuck your chin into your chest. And once your feet have come down, you're going to shift your whole body up so that your head and shoulders come off the blanket stack. And you can either put the feet together or cross the ankles, unfold your arms. If this is not comfortable for you, you can quietly come into your fully reclined, flat on your back, Shavasana position. And if this is comfortable for you, we're just going to take Shavasana here for these last 2 minutes. Quietly start to move
out of Shavasana. Find your way to your side. Gently and slowly come to seated. Once you're seated, taking just another couple of moments to sit quietly with yourself, sensing the body, sensing the breath, sensing the mind, the energy, inviting a sense of gratitude. And namaste.